Hello, everyone, and welcome to my talk today on the myth of the starving artist. I'm Daniela Sioni, and I work with creatives to help them build sustainable online side hustles so they have more time to create. I do this in my Coffee Break MBA program, where I work with artists of all stripes: screenwriters, authors, playwrights, filmmakers, theater directors, performers, musicians, photographers, comedians, dancers, visual artists, composers, editors, designers, you name it. Because no matter how we choose to express ourselves, the vast majority of artists have many of the same issues to overcome. And most of us have exceptional talent and non-traditional solutions with which to overcome them. So that really makes my work way more fun for me as a business coach. Okay, so today I want to talk about one of those commonalities that we all came face to face with at some point in our creative development, and that is the myth of the starving artist. This is the dangerous and destructive idea in the popular mythology that in order to create great art, to be a true artist, we must suffer and starve. Now, I hate to break it to you, but if you stick around on the planet long enough, you will suffer, regardless of whether or not you are also starving. Remember, I'm the one who does a talk for my comedy screenwriting students on why great comedy requires great pain. The talk I'm going to give you today is not a negation of that talk, it's actually a clarification. While it's valuable to be able to tap into our own suffering and empathize with the suffering of others when creating art, that does not mean we have to live in this world like a walking open wound. And it certainly does not mean that we have to take an oath of poverty to be a working artist. If you're like me, the child of immigrant parents, I'm going to go ahead and guess that from the very moment you had the inclination to be creative, at least one of your parents shut you down. There's a vivid memory I have of watching Sammy Davis Jr. tap dancing on TV, and I yelled out with excitement, "Mommy, that's what I want to do when I grow up." And my mom's eyes widened in horror. "No, if you do that, you will starve." I was so taken aback by her horror, I never stopped to think and make the counter argument at the time. I don't think Sammy Davis is starving. I think he lives a pretty full life. Do you have some version of a memory like that? I have a few others, but the worst by far happened later in life as a teenager when I announced that I was going to go audition for acting school the next day. And I got the beatdown of my life from my dad. I was so distraught and physically bruised that I did not go to my audition. And my dad always said that he did that to protect me from the horrible life of an actress. I had much more empathy for him when I found out years later that his own family had done something similar to him when he told them he wanted to be a musician. And so the cycle continues. Hopefully your memories don't involve actual violence, but if you are a creative, I do want you to reflect on how family members, friends, or society in general have tried to brainwash you into the belief that you will never make a living from your art. Take stock of each and every moment. Put yourself back there, take a deep breath and answer back. You are wrong. This is my life, not yours, and mind your own business. Because if at the very core of ourselves, we cannot walk in the world with a real belief that our art is of value, that we can make money from it, then we really will starve. Tell yourself that you can't do something and you will be correct. Most often it is other people who planted those seeds in our psyche. So we have to weed these destructive seeds out, heal ourselves of them, and move on with our work. It is not an easy process, but one that we can start at any point in our lives. I remember being in an acting class in New York City in my early 40s with my acting teacher stopping the scene and saying, "What are you thinking right now?" And me saying, "I suck. I can't do this. I'm not pretty enough. I'm too old." He said, "Stop. Who is telling you that? Tell me about that voice. Is it a male or female voice? Is it young or old?" I said, "It's male. It's an old male." He said, "Where is he in the room? Point to him." And my autonomic response was to point above and behind me. And bear in mind, my father was alive at this point in my life. And he said, "Now tell him to go away." And I let out a spew of expletives like you have never seen come out of my mouth before. It was cathartic. Now, you don't necessarily need to go that far to exercise your creative demons, but I highly recommend it. Many of us have to literally give ourselves the permission to create because no one else probably has in our lives. If we're waiting for anyone else to do that or to discover us, it's probably never going to happen. Canada and many other places have a system of choosing the up-and-comers, and all too often these choices have been based on systemic bias and gender, age, and racial prejudices. Where does that leave most of us? My best advice to you is don't wait to be anointed a chosen one. Just keep doing the work. Create until your work is so good, no one can ignore you. So what does that have to do with entrepreneurship? Because Coffee Break MBA is the only one of my programs that trains artists to do business and not to create art. So why this talk here? Whether or not you create an online business to directly sell your work or to create and sell something else that affords you a lot more time to create your work, entrepreneurship teaches you that the actions you take will provide for you because it trains you to not wait around to be discovered, but to take uncomfortable action to bring your work to the public. For the first time in my life, I was able to break through to another level of my creativity last year because I became an entrepreneur, because I was no longer trading my time for money as a direct exchange. I was able to leave my 70-hour-a-week job on film sets to work 12 hours a week running my online business. And guess what that afforded me? A lot more time to write scripts. I'm a comedy screenwriter now, and all that work I did as an actress and later as a stand-up comic informs that work. And guess what having more time to focus on writing led to? 9 international awards and honors for my screenplay for the first time in my life. But even if entrepreneurship doesn't provide that same level of transformation for you that quickly, knowing how to market and sell your art is vital to the experience of being an artist who does not starve. I had to leave a mastermind I was in a few years ago in a big philosophical disagreement with the leader of the group who said, artists don't have to learn about marketing because we can hire people for that. While that may be true, if we avoid learning about marketing and other aspects of business altogether, we are going to get eaten alive out there if we let other people create our image for us and tell us how to sell ourselves and our work, and even worse, who our audience is. You can and should hire people eventually to do any aspect of your business that does not directly involve you creating your art. But it will take some time to get there. And besides, we need to have enough of an understanding about marketing and sales that we have some control of the process and can guide our team when we hire them. You can make money from your art. Many people throughout the millennia have. And the biggest hurdle we face as artists is largely one of mindset. Because business itself is a learnable skill, and both business and art involve 2 major things: creative strategy and hustle. Whether or not you create an online business that is directly related to your art, doing a program like my Coffee Break MBA program will teach you the very creative steps involved in marketing and selling in the online space. Spoiler alert, most of the work involved in business is much like most of the work involved in succeeding as an artist, doing the work consistently and showing up. I remember a talk William H. Macy had with me on set once about a theater school he ran with David Mamet in New York City. He said students would get 100% marks if they showed up to every single class knowing their lines and hitting their marks. His point was one about talent. Talent is not magic. It gets developed with practice. It comes from showing up consistently and doing the work. Even comedy is a learnable skill, and if it wasn't, comedians would not spend years grinding it out on the Pro-Am open mic circuit. Focus on the work you want to do. Don't just do something for the money. Don't even start an online business just for the money. Do something you love that will help other people while it helps you remain creative. If you're interested in making 2022 the year you defeat your creative demons by taking ownership of your creativity and your wealth through your business, join me inside Coffee Break MBA, a course and community with weekly live coaching that I've built to help set you up for success. I've decided to keep it at the low introductory price of $197 US a year for 2022, which is the cost of buying me a coffee once a week, because I am having so much fun helping my creatives in 4 countries right now building their businesses. I'll post a link to the registration page below, or you can feel free to message me with any questions. Whether or not you choose to work with me on achieving your creative business goals, don't ever let anyone put a limit on your creativity, not even the people you love. I hope you have a productive and abundant year ahead. Happy 2022.